Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Beef Sticks Podcast. We're your hosts, Fat Mac
and Pasty White. Now let's get it on! Thank you, ladies.
And thank you for tuning in to Beef Sticks Podcast, Episode 1. This is the wrestling podcast brought to you by Cloud Style Broadcasting. This is a podcast made for wrestling fans from lifelong, opinionated,
and intoxicated
wrestling fans. To start you out, we're going to give you a little info about ourselves. I myself, Fat Mac, am a wrestling fan from back in the 80s. I grew up on the NWA and WCW, but come the mid-90s, a little thing called the Attitude Era struck WWF, and I was hooked. After that, I went back and bought every tape I could find of the WWF and immersed myself in the history of the WWF.
And I've been watching wrestling since before I can remember. I am the WWE guy. I keep it pretty typical to the main shows, but lately I've been trying to get into watching other shows. And I think we've got a pretty interesting program for you guys.
Hopefully you come back each and every week on Thursday. What you can expect from this podcast is a little bit of everything and anything in the wrestling world. We can bring you WWE Raw, SmackDown, all of that. What else do we got?
We got Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact Wrestling.
We'll give you independence, we'll give you one-off shows, and we'll let you know what's happening in the local Minnesota area.
Yes, indeed. As well as that, each week we will be featuring a new and special craft beer and sharing it with all of you.
Yes, in fact, not only are we wrestling fans, but we are huge beer fans. Aren't all wrestling fans beer fans?
I think so, for the most part.
Yeah, even the 10-year-olds.
You know.
What have you got over there?
This week I am drinking Shiner Wicked Ram IPA from Spotzel Brewery in Shiner, Texas.
And I have one of my favorite beers from a local brewery here in Minnesota.
All right, Mac, what do we got going on in
Shell Brewing Company, and I got Shells. My first thing I have on my list is the Broken Universe has entered Ring of Honor.
Delete.
That is right, fans. Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero both made their debuts in Ring of Honor at the 15th anniversary show in an amazing street fight against both the Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice.
What a match that was.
Oh, I'm telling you what. I'm always a fan for Thumbtacks. I'm just going to put that out there. I am a fan of Thumbtacks. And they pulled off a move that I have never seen before. They actually had, I believe it was Matt, put the thumbtacks into Trent Bretta's mouth, shoved his mouth full of thumbtacks, and had Nick super kick him. You seen the thumbtacks fly. It was beautiful.
It was a wonderful display of thumbtackery. I must say so myself.
There were wrestlers, blood, thumbtacks everywhere. Awesome match. I strongly recommend the ROH 15th anniversary show, which we will be recapping later on in the podcast. Other noteworthy appearances on there was the first appearance of Bully Ray. In my opinion, I think the first time ever in Ring of Honor. He may have made an appearance here or there, but I don't believe so. I think this is the first time he was in Ring of Honor, and he teamed up with the Briscoes, them boys. So it's kind of interesting. Ring of Honor, who is always the young, new builder crowd, hip, too good to have the WWE guys. They've been making a lot of changes lately. And with TNA making changes that are losing wrestlers, WWE doing their own thing, going in their own direction, it's very interesting to see both Bully Ray and the Hardys, who are WWE alums and TNA alum for Bully Ray. He actually spent more time in his career in TNA than he has in WWE, believe that. To see them in Ring of Honor. As well as we crowned a new champion that night with Christopher Daniels. Talk about somebody who's far from being young blood and new talent. He was on the very, very first Ring of Honor show ever in the main event. I mean, I'll say it's long overdue. I'm not against him winning the title. What did you think of it?
I thought the entire show was really good. I kind of didn't pay attention to some parts because I was busy doing other things, but...
how dare you have a life outside of pro wrestling?
I know, right? It's hard to keep up with everything.
There's
I'll be
so much
completely honest
wrestling.
with you there. But, no, I thoroughly enjoyed what I caught of the show. I really liked the match with the Hardys, the Bucks, and Roppongi Vice, and God, I love that theme song.
Oh, Roppongi Vice has one of the best theme songs in pro wrestling, right up there with Glorious, I tell you what.
It is. It's stuck in my head for days, and it's so simple, and I think that's why it works.
So it's going to be interesting going forward. I'm assuming, as far as I know...
Interesting. I never would have guessed in a million years that the Hardys would go to Ring of Honor. I thought for sure they were headed to New Japan, because the New Japan crowd would totally embrace the Broken style.
Oh, put them on DDT, and the DDT promotion where they wrestle blow-up dolls and invisible men. You have the Broken Hardys in there. They could give them their own show on DDT, I tell you what.
No doubt.
That would be amazing. No, it's interesting because I haven't seen anybody come out with what the contract is for the Hardys in Ring of Honor. But from most things I've read as speculation is that it's up through the WrestleMania weekend. So there is still a good chance that we could see the Hardys make a return to WWE sometime soon after
Broken
this.
Matt did make a tweet recently about coming after the Day of New Yet.
I tell you what, and the man with 3 H's, I know he would love to get his hands on that. He did an interview where he was talking about him and how he would drag him into the Broken Universe and delete him. So there's a straight-on threat to Triple H right there. This is good. I like it. It gets people talking about Ring of Honor. It keeps the Hardys and Bully Ray in people's minds. And we need other stuff other than WWE. And this is it. This is what it is.
Truthfully. And if you don't watch Ring of Honor, I highly recommend you start turning in now. I'm not a huge follower of Ring of Honor, but I do watch it whenever I get the chance. And I'm rarely let down by anything. The Briscoes alone are enough to keep me glued.
Damn boys! I tell you what, and if you're wondering where to start in Ring of Honor and you're worried about just jumping in, start at the 15th anniversary show.
Yes.
There's a few storylines that are already, in progress and finishing up and all that, but that's okay. You will stay in love with it just because of the match quality alone. No kidding at all. I think we can go on to the next topic. What else do we got?
Well, if you haven't heard, Lucha Underground Seasons 1 and 2 have just made their way to Netflix, and I am eager to sink my teeth into that. The only Lucha Underground I have caught thus far is the last match of Season 1, or the last show of Season 1, with the death match between...
It was Mil Muertes... Johnny Mundo?
No, it wasn't Johnny... What? It was Vampiro...
Oh, with Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr.
There you go.
You're
Vampiro
right.
versus Pentagon Jr.
Okay. That was an amazing match.
Yes, it was. That was a match that I was able to get my neighbors into and show them, death matches still exist. I mean, it wasn't as hardcore as a lot of death matches, but as for TV goes, it was damn good.
Oh, it was very good. And Lucha Underground, if you haven't seen it, it's got a unique style all its own.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to be a pro wrestling fan. If you're a I wouldn't say sitcom. If you're a television suspense kind of fan, you could fall in love with this easily.
Yes, it is definitely more of a show than a program.
I'm excited to see they got both Season 1 and 2 on Netflix. I trailed off in the middle of Season 2 and I haven't picked up yet, and I feel bad about that. I apologize to whatever Lucha Underground gods are out there. The Aztec gods, as it were. But I'm going to start back at Episode 1. Me and my son are going to watch them all. Episode 1, Season 1 through Season 2. And, Pentagon Jr. is no longer with Lucha Underground. He left AAA. He lost the name, Pentagon Jr. He doesn't have the rights for that, or at least it's in legal battle right now. I believe he has a name, something about his Cero Mero phrase, which is Zero Fear. He's incorporated that into his name. Really similar to the La Parka fiasco that happened quite a few years back, where La Parka left AAA and they said they owned the name, and then he started going by LA Park, and then he started going by La Park, and then they brought in their own La Parka, and it gets crazy. Mexican laws. I don't even understand American laws. Mexican laws get even more weird.
All I know is you don't drink the water.
Don't
Cervezas
drink the
is
water.
fine.
Cerveza is great. Anything more on the Lucha Underground?
You know, like I said, I got a lot of catching up to do, so I'm not very well versed in Lucha Underground. I mean, I know they got Rey Mysterio.
Rey
I
Mysterio,
know.
Joey Ryan.
Yeah,
He
Joey
plays a
Ryan's
federal
there.
agent. I'm telling you, it's like a TV show. He doesn't come in there as your Joey Ryan character, which I love the Joey Ryan character, but he's a federal agent, and I love his character as a federal agent. He's undercover. This is a great show, folks. You have to be watching it.
Who else? Who else is on?
Sexy star, Mil Muertes, Johnny Mundo. If you don't know Lucha Underground, you'd know him as John Morrison from WWE.
Oh yeah.
He's amazing in there. You've got a ton of folks up in there.
Melina's in it, isn't she?
Melina signed with them. Phoenix, Aerostar. I'm forgetting people, and I know because I'm forgetting people who are amazing. There are just a ton of folks in that. Every match is quality. The storylines are great. Cuerno, the main guy, I forgot his first name, but Cuerno, the actor who plays him, and he's an actor. He's not a wrestler. He's not an agent. He has no ties to the wrestling business. They hired this actor, Dario Cuarto. Thank you, Dario Cuarto. And I'm probably saying it wrong now. Dario Cueto. And he's amazing. I love his character. The guy is great. He owns his role. You can't ask for anything else. The production in this show is beautiful. I'd say WWE or higher quality production in the show.
And if you haven't heard, back on a slightly different topic, Alberto Del Patron and Dutch Mantel have been signed to Impact.
Correct. Both of them are signed on there. Dutch Mantel, some of you might remember him as Zeb Coulter back in WWE. He worked with Alberto El Patron when he was ADR, Alberto Del Rio with the Americans. What was
The
it?
Real Americans?
Real Americans. It was the stupidest gimmick in the world.
We, the people.
Jack Swagger hasn't done anything since then.
I love Jack Swagger.
But yeah, Dutch Mantel has a beautiful wrestling mind. As far as I know, he's mainly behind the scenes, but he's going to do some other stuff. Jeff Jarrett's back in there. Dixie Carter is out of there.
Get out of here.
Bruce Pritchard, who has been with TNA before, was with WWE for many years. You might remember him as Brother Love back in the 80s WWF. And he's in there. They're all backstage. It could be a good new direction for TNA.
What I do find kind of interesting is Dixie Carter's out, but EC3 is still signed.
How does her nephew keep a job if she's no longer there? You'd almost think they might not be blood related. No, he has her last name. By the way, I love EC3. He is the perfect heel, and WWF screwed up by letting him go.
Yes.
Because he is super talented. On that note, TNA super screwed up by letting Drew Galloway go, who was a former WWE guy who was under the name Drew McIntyre. WWE didn't know what to do with him. TNA knew what to do with him. He was a star. He was a champion. He was everything they wanted. He was young. He was entertaining. He could talk. He had the look. And in typical TNA fashion, and this is under the new management, they just let him slip away. They dicked around. They weren't talking about his contract. They weren't getting back to him. They were leaving him hanging. And from all accounts, he was supposed to win the TNA World title, and they just let him slip away. And that's how at the last minute they ended up signing Alberto El Patron, was because Drew Galloway left, and he ended up being a placeholder.
They've been slipping up left and right. I mean, they let the Hardys walk away. They never should have
Big
did that.
mistake.
That is a huge mistake, because whoever gets them gets gold.
Especially since at least Matt Hardy kept trying to negotiate with him after they insulted both of them.
From what it sounds like, they just kept dicking him around, holding off on an offer. They finally gave him an offer, and it sounded like they didn't appreciate the Hardys.
But at least Rebby Sky is taking this calmly and easily and respectful. At least that is going on. You wouldn't want her blowing up and ranting on Twitter or cursing or talking about melting the belts down and making new hoops or talking about fuck that owl. which is my favorite new hashtag now. Hashtag fuck that owl.